we have EverQuest news. And if you had EverQuest roadmap as on your 2022 predictions, raise your hand. Are you raising your hand right now? You lying? You know you don't like. I can't see you. This is a one-way thing, or is it? This is something that I did not expect to see from EverQuest, and I'm pleasantly surprised too. So I want to kind of jump into it and go over each of the things that they have laid out in this roadmap. Now, we've had producers letters before, we've had information on the game, but it was always pretty vague. This is a new thing that we're seeing from EverQuest, and I'm excited to see, like, not only did they do it for EverQuest 1, they also did it for EverQuest 2, and I'll have a video on that later. But we'll start in January, this month, with probably the most time-sensitive news to give you about the Community Resource Council. The Community Resource Council is going to be a way for you to help advise on the future of EverQuest. And we'll have a little more detail here in a second, but I want to give you the important dates beforehand. So the applications for this will open up on January 28th of 2022, and they will close on February 11th of 2022. So it's a short time frame to get your applications in. So if you have any interest in this, now is the time to start getting ready to apply. What is the Community Resource Council? Well, I want to tell you in EverQuest's own words. It is a program designed to give players and members of the development team a confidential space to discuss upcoming design decisions with the benefit of a non-disclosure agreement. This allows members of the development team to be able to discuss topics that are still in development and not yet ready for public scrutiny, with an audience of players providing a degree of player feedback to assist in the making of development decisions. The Community Resource Council also assists members of the development team with the research and provides a player perspective on topics where and when it is needed. I'm a fan of these. Any kind of lines of communication between the development team and the players can be very helpful. I just hope that as they go into this and they're looking through the applications, they try to pull from a diverse array of players and try and make sure that they're getting representation of all types of players that like to play this game, so they can potentially make decisions that will be beneficial to more than just one type of player. I would like to see a little, like, perhaps this council can give a voice to some of those players that have not seen the content thrown their way that others have. Moving on into February, we have one of the things that we've been expecting to happen, but we didn't have any kind of date yet. It's been in testing since last year. The 64-bit client will be rolling out to servers, and this is a positive development to see that they're confident enough in the testing to give a date, well, at least a month anyway, of when we should be expecting the 64-bit client. For the 64-bit client, I've seen so many different takes on what this could mean, and my technical knowledge is not at a point where I could give my own take with any kind of certainty. So I'm going to kind of just, my take is kind of just in the middle of what I've heard from other more experienced people. So I've heard everything from all it's going to do is potentially fix some of the lag, to it's going to be able to add new resources to do graphics and new kinds of zones and things like that. So I think it'll be probably somewhere in the middle there, where even if it doesn't do those pie in the sky type things, but perhaps it'll open up some resources to allow them to do a bit more with the game than what we're currently getting with every new iteration, every new expansion, and every new progression server. So March, we have the 23rd anniversary of the game. This game is old. I sometimes I forget just how old EverQuest is and how long it's been putting out content. And the thing that's craziest to me is 23 years of EverQuest has came out to 28 expansions. That in itself is an achievement. And I think we need to pause sometimes, even if, granted, some expansions have not been great, some have been really great, but still 28 expansions. And with regularity, you can expect an EverQuest expansion to come out each year. And I think that is commendable, especially as this game has aged and you have seen teams change, you've seen leadership change, you've seen the company change, but we continue to get fresh EverQuest content every year. Now, I know that a lot of people don't play the current live version of the game. They play Project 99, they play the progression servers, but it's still great to see new content being pushed out all the time. But what are they saying about the 23rd anniversary? Well, this is going to be a theme throughout, with the events in every month, and then the actual anniversary itself, new content. So specifically in the roadmap, they say new quests, missions, and a new raid. They go on to talk about new content for Bristlebane's Day and new content for Stomple's Day. You know what? I hope it'll be substantive content. I mean, with the anniversary, we're talking about substantive content, I believe. We're talking about new raid, new missions, new quests. The other events are more vague, and they're more vague throughout. But I still like the idea that they're bringing something new to the table. I'm excited for new content for Everquest. I'm excited to see this long into the game's lifespan, we are still getting new content. We're still getting treated to new things about old events. April, not much to say here. There's going to be achievements added for the classic zones, old starter zones. I don't really care, but I'm sure that there's achievement hunters out there that will have April circled on their calendars to really go in and get it. Props to you. You are the reason the achievement system exists, and I hope you will enjoy what they add. May is gonna be the opposite and just be both expected and big at the same time. I think you're gonna have new progression servers. Now, we didn't get any rule announcements for these Everquest 1 servers. They'll be announced at a later date, but it is telling that we get servers, as in multiple servers. I think Everquest has gotten into this kind of cadence where you're going to get at least 2 servers every time they launch, unless they can expand the server capacity. This makes sense because I don't think that they could handle a single server anymore. The popularity of that first launch of progression servers is so big and so intense that I don't think they want to risk the kind of big queues and server issues they've had in the past. Until another game replaces it, it is still my favorite MMO. So they get me pretty much every year. I come back for the progression servers. Mercenaries get an update here. They'll be simplifying the rankings of them, but more importantly, they're going to be getting rid of the quests. I think this is a very good thing for them to do. The quests they serve their purpose when necessary. Mercenaries are essentially there to help casual players, right? They're there to help players that cannot form a full group. And why would you add questing that, especially when their first launch before House of Thule, requires a lot of other people's assistance to be able to do it? So I think this will be helpful in the long run. I know that mercenaries in general are a bit of a hot topic. They've always been a hot topic. They were a hot topic from the moment they were announced for Everquest. They serve their purpose, especially in a game where population is sometimes difficult to gauge, especially when servers start to kind of die in their life cycle. I won't go into the mercenaries or anything like that. I don't want to start a fight with the comment section here, but they're going to be touching on mercenaries in May. Yeah. We also get a new Tempest Festival event. Now, this is one of 2 new events that are mentioned in the roadmap, and I'm excited to see what these are. I don't know much about it. There wasn't much mentioned, but I mean, the name is cool, right? And there's actually a similarity with the name of the event later. I'm gonna remain optimistic and hope for the best, and hope this will be a very cool event, and definitely one that I'm gonna come and check out. June's a bittersweet month for me because my last long-term server, my Finagil will be merging. Finagil, Miracle are going to be merging into Vox. Now, I really appreciate that they're taking the time now to let us know that this is going to be coming. These server mergers are going to be coming, and it was necessary. I went on to Finagil not too long ago. It's a ghost town, you know. It needs to be merged. But it's still it's a little bittersweet, and that's how it goes with progression servers, right? I mean, people are there to run through the content, and then once the content is done, there's not a whole lot of reason to stay on the server anymore. So they go on to different things, different games, whatever. Sometimes they go back to an old server. It really just depends. But that's all that said. Server mergers coming in June for my former home. July gives us the second new event, Scorched Skies. I'm really excited to see what these 2 events are going to bring to the game. Are they going to be short event, long events? Are they going to be all kinds of content? Will they have raids? Will they have quests? But please make sure that any of these announced new content sections, don't let the new content just be stuff on the store. Now, let me clarify. You can have stuff on the store. Fine. I totally get it. Monetization is a need. Whatever, but don't tell me new content and then have it be cosmetics on the store. You're also going to have new overseer achievements and reward improvements. I'm kind of ambivalent about this. Who knows what they're going to do with this? I feel like the overseer system kind of missed its mark. When it was announced, it made it sound a lot like in some ways, a catch-up system. Like, hey, I'm level 50. My friends are level 105. How do I catch up to them? Oh, the overseer. Well, no, Timmy, no, you're not. Because it's going to give you dog shit for experience when you do it. Enjoy. All that said, there was definitely a time, especially in the game, when it got to quest being the main way to get experience. I'm looking at you, Torment of Velius, and your quest only really experience. Overseer became almost essential to any guild or person that was trying to level up quickly. So it'll be interesting to see how do they balance this? How do they figure out how to make Overseer worthwhile to more people? I think in a lot of ways, what I was seeing when I was playing was a lot of people using Overseer for collections. And I would like to see it used, if they want to make it more interesting, perhaps they could make it that catch-up system, because I do think Everquest still really needs a way for people to catch up quickly. I understand the need to push heroic characters, more on that here in just a second, but if they don't make this more attractive as a catch-up system, at least for me, Overseer is going to remain kind of irrelevant. It's going to be up there with achievements for me. Sorry if those are your two favorite things about the game. Please stick around for more. Now, September, we're going to have heroic characters upgrade. New heroic characters will start at level 100. Finally. October is going to have the expansion beta for 2022. Everquest again showing that they're going to continue with their cadence of launching an expansion every freaking year, and I'm happy to see it. So you think for me, oh wow, new expansion launch, awesome news. The most exciting thing for me though, for the October part of the roadmap, is that we get new content for Nights of the Dead. Halloween's my favorite holiday. I freaking love it. It's everything about it is fun and exciting for me, and I've always really enjoyed Nights of the Dead in Everquest and Everquest 2. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it and how they add new content to it. November, we see the continuation of working with Extra Life. Now, this is a great thing that Everquest does. It's part of, obviously, it's not just Everquest. Extra Life is huge at this point, and I like that Everquest is continuing to work with Extra Life and continuing to be part of this. It is, for those of you who don't know what Extra Life is, I'm including information on it down below in the description, but in short, it helps raise funds for the Children's Miracle Network. We have another event as well in November, and we also have another announcement of new content. The Feast of Giving will be getting more content as well. Ending the year, we have the launch of 2022's expansion, which is obviously yet to be announced. It's freaking January. And then we also have New Year's content. So this is interesting. Is the New Year's content talking about a specific new type of content, or is it talking about Frostfell, which kind of runs in through New Year's and through into January? We'll see when it comes out, and like everything else, I just hope that we get some quality new content. Throughout the year, they mentioned that there's going to be raid zone improvements. I have to wonder if this will be part of the upgrade of the 64-bit client. If you know more about the technical side of things, please let us know down in the comments. Class tuning and balancing, anti-cheat improvements, all things that I think that we'll be excited to see as we go through the year. I mean, unless your favorite class gets nerfed, then you probably won't be as excited, but that's kind of the history of the game. So that kind of wraps up the year. That wraps up the year's roadmap, but that's not where the roadmap ended. And I think this is my most this to me was the most exciting announcement at the very end, and it's not even part of 2022. I do wish it was part of 2022 because I think it's been necessary for a very long time. Beyond 2022, there will be a new UI engine. This has been needed for so freaking long. It was even kind of like the thesis of my Does Everquest Need a Facelift video. It's so important to have a UI that makes sense when people log in for the first time. If your UI is garbage, people are gonna kind of feel like the game is garbage. They're not gonna be, have the same kind of nostalgic feelings that a lot of us watching this video are gonna have. They're gonna be like, this is trash. everything's trash. Let's leave and go play this game instead. So I think that it's kind of like, it's one of like the first impressions. I almost feel in some ways, I feel like a UI can have a bigger impact on new players than the graphics. The current UI feels old. It feels cheap. I mean, yes, it's very modifiable, and yes, you can go get a custom UI, but please don't ask new players to get a custom UI because the stuff that you ship with is shit, because you can't do that. That's not gonna work. That's not good business. And obviously it seems like they understand that because we're gonna be getting a new UI engine sometime beyond 2022. I'm guessing that means 2023, because if they're not getting a new UI until 2024, 2025, ouch. My takeaway on all this can kind of be summed up in the same way I feel about the heroic characters being raised to level 100. Finally. Like, the lack of transparency with dates has been one of my major gripes with Everquest over the years, that they never have seemed to have a plan going forward. Just they got into this area where they felt comfortable. Okay, we're gonna do an expansion, we're gonna do a progression server. That's all we're gonna do each year. Keep doing it because it's gonna keep the players that are here happy, and we'll just keep doing the same thing over and over again until it stops working. And I guess, I mean, we as the player base kind of incentivize that, because if we kept going to every progression server, we kept buying every new expansion, we are incentivizing them to continue in that comfortable path. Now, I'm not saying that this roadmap is a huge diversion from that path. It's not. There's a lot of the same things that are very similar to what's been happening in the game forever. That's why I say the UI is probably one of the biggest things, aside from the 64-bit client, of course. But it's really good to see that they're being upfront, and I have to believe this has something to do with the new leadership in charge of Everquest, and it'll be interesting to see going forward. Does this continue to be a thing? Do we get a roadmap every year? Are things expanded on in the roadmap? What are we seeing from Everquest as time goes on? But and all in all, this is heartening news for a beloved game, a beloved franchise, honestly, because Everquest 2 got a roadmap as well, and I had thought Everquest 2 was gone like 3 years ago. So I mean, that's great to see, and we'll go over that again in another video, like I was saying. But it's great to be looking at something new from Everquest 23 years on, and I hope that Everquest continues to go and grow, and I'll be definitely checking out some of this new stuff. I hope you will too if you have any interest in the game. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Redbeard Flynn. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, please like the video. If you want to talk with me, chat with me, please leave comments down below. I respond to every comment, and I'll look forward to talking to you soon. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.